Let's look at some of the tools in the toolbar. We're going to look at the pen tool and the curvature pen tool. But first I'm going to make a new page, so File, New. I'm going to keep the settings I've already used, so A4, landscape, and not worry about the bleed. I'm going to create, so here is my new artboard. The simplest path you can draw with the pen tool is a straight line made by clicking the pen tool to create 2 anchor points. If you press enter on the keyboard, it will finish that line and you can move your cursor away. If you continue to click, you create a path made of straight line segments connected by corner points. In Illustrator, these are called anchor points. You can move the anchor points by choosing the direct selection tool, which is the white arrow or A on the keyboard. Click on the anchor point and you can just drag it to where you want it. You can add new anchor points by right-clicking on the pen tool and just choose Add Anchor Point tool. You can just pop some extra ones in there and that gives you more points that you can pull around. There we go. You can take them away in the same way, so right-click and choose Delete Anchor Point tool. You've also got these options up here on the options bar to take away or add. And get rid of that one. And that one, and that one. Now I can go back and pull this one. You can also draw curves with the pen tool. I'll just delete that. You create a curve by adding an anchor point where a curve changes direction and dragging the direction lines that shape the curve. The length and slope of the direction lines determines the shape of the curve. So I'm just going to open the document pen tool worksheet. So File, Open, locate your Illustrator files and choose the pen tool worksheet. Open that. Hover over the pen tool and left click, just make sure that's what you're on. And now you can practice the straight shapes by just clicking on the points. And return, enter on the keyboard, we'll finish that off. You can do that on the next one. Slightly more complex is the curve tool. The curve tool creates a curve by adding an anchor point where a curve changes direction and dragging the direction lines that shape the curve. The length and slope of the direction lines determine the shape of the curve. The curve tool takes some practice to get right. So I'm going to click on the first point. I'm just going to do half a curve to start with. So click in the middle and drag, and you'll see the line coming out. And I'm going to go to the end and click. I'm going to do the bottom curve in the same way in 2 halves. Half, half, and then the same again for the top. And then enter on the keyboard to finish it. If I'm not happy with any of these, and some of them are a little bit wonky, I can get the direct selection tool, which is A on the keyboard, and I can just move them, move those anchor points around, and I can also use the handles. So if I click on an anchor point, the handles will come up, and I can just use those to make sure that it's all rounded off nicely. I'm going to do the same one for the next one. I'm going to choose the pen tool and come down, but this time I need to tell Illustrator that I want to stop heading down and start heading back up, because if I try to head straight back up without doing that, it just gives me this wonky looking line here. I do that by just clicking on the last anchor point and then it resets. Now I can come up and down, click on the anchor point to reset, up and down, and enter to stop. So next I'm just going to look at the reflect tool. So here we've got one curve followed by a straight line. So I'm going to do the curve in two parts. Tell Illustrator that I finished by clicking on it and just fill that bit in as a straight line. Now I don't have to draw that again because I've already done it. So selection tool, option on the keyboard, click and drag, and that's copied it for me. Now I just need to reflect it. So come over here. I've got the rotate tool. There's also an option for a reflect tool, which is O on the keyboard. I'm going to choose reflect. If I double click on that, it gives me the reflection options. So I want it to be a vertical flip. If I choose preview, it will show me automatically. I'll just go to OK. So practice that on the second sheet, and then we'll come back and look at the curvature pen tool. The curvature pen tool should let you draw these in a slightly more fluid way. So if I click on the start with the curvature pen tool, tell it where the middle is, and then take the finger off and just let go, it will finish that curve for me. Similar application, slightly different way of working. It's quite nice for drawing fluid, kind of wavy lines.